What?
I think I'm live. Hello.
Great.
Can everybody see me? Of course, I sing. Everybody knows I like to sing. Hi, guys. It's Steph from Dogs Naturally and 4-Leaf Rover, and I hope everybody's enjoying their Friday where we are, where I'm looking out the window. Here, I'll show you. It's sunny and very nice today. So we're very lucky. Go ahead and let us know where you guys are tuning in from. We're just getting ready here, getting all set up for an awesome chat with Dana Scott. Let me know, put your hands up. Let me know where you people are. Okay. All right. Lots of people coming in now. Cool, cool. Guys, don't mind me being silent for a minute, just checking out how everything's rolling here. Cool. Getting little messages coming up now. All right. Love to tell you a fun story. I'll tell you a fun story. I got a fun story for you. Okay. Yesterday, we did some filming here at 4-Leaf Rover headquarters, and that was a lot of fun. We had our customer success team in here, and they were doing some fun video for you guys that you'll see shortly. We're not always on camera, so that was an interesting thing, but we got to hear some really cool stories about customers calling in with their dogs and the different things that you guys have shared with us, and that's pretty awesome. We get a lot of really cool pictures coming in and a lot of really nice stories, so we definitely want to thank everybody for that. Please share your pictures and stories if you have fun, good stories about your dog or some success stories. We always love hearing people's journeys with their dogs and sharing pictures. Boy, I wish I had some pictures here for you. I have some good ones of the dogs at the office. Yeah, so you can always leave them in the comments below as well. Also, you can leave your stories in the comments below. I wish I had a really good story for you today, but oh wait, I have something fun to show you while we're waiting. I just sent you the invite, Dana. Who do we have here, Dana? This is Dottie. This is Dottie. This is Dottie. Say hi, Dottie. Sorry, I sent you that. Dottie says hello. She's wagging her tail. She's a happy girl. Oh, but she was disturbed, so she had to move over here. She was having a good nap. Hey, Dottie? Oh, and look, there's Alice. That's Alice. All right, we're just about to get started here. All right. Dana.
Okay.
I think it's on. All right, everybody, here's Dana Scott. We're just rolling in and getting ready.
Dana is so not prepared for this. All right. However, okay. Okay.
How are we feeling?
Well, we're feeling great.
Okay, before you start, show your shirt, please.
What?
Show everybody your cool shirt.
There. No, I don't know. It's not. It's because it's on this display now.
Oh, it's on the
So I
different
gotta
display.
stand up.
Well, Dana has a
So-
really cool shirt on today. Just wanted to let you know that was fun. For me. Anyways,
let me just actually do this.
all right.
Because this ain't going well.
All right.
This. So.
All right, Dana, take it away. Think
Okay.
you can do it. Do you need some help? I can help you. I know what you're asking for. I know what you're asking for.
Should we try again?
Go for it.
Oh my God.
Thanks so much. Okay, continue. Sorry,
Well, do we have audio?
working on it
Why did you unplug this?
because it might be coming from mine.
Why don't you plug this into?
Okay,
yours
we
then?
got audio.
Plug this into
Yep,
yours. 'cause
we're gonna
that way
pluggy
you can
pluggy.
listen to it.
Okay, start again.
I have no
Yay! We can hear their sound.
For Sherzies. And it's good sound.
Yep.
Through this guy.
I got peeps telling me.
Wish I had peace. All right. So now we've wasted 11 minutes of your time while we get organized. So here's something that I hear a lot. People say to me, Dana, my dog's raw fed. I do all the right things, and my dog still has allergies. My dog's still inflamed. My dog still has all of these health issues. And I think this didn't happen when we all started feeding raw like 20, 25 years ago. People would switch over to raw and blah, 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 the birds would be singing, the sky would open up, rainbows, and everything would be great. Their health would change for the better. But I'm not always seeing that these days. And that's because I suspect a lot, how distracting is that? The tractor's going in behind us. A lot of raw fed dogs, I believe, are fiber deficient, or more specifically, plant deficient. Okay, what do you see? Just a wolf?
A wolf.
Can I see?
Yes.
No.
You don't trust
I don't
me.
trust you now.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right. So a lot, and if you're a prey model feeder, I'm going to target you today, unfortunately, in particular, because if you're feeding prey model, and what prey model means is no vegetation, then your dog is probably missing a very, very key nutrient or two. Now, a lot of prey model people, or alpha, whatever the heck people, I'm not sure what that's called, they say dogs should not be eating plant matter for two reasons. First, wolves don't eat vegetation, and two, dogs can't digest it. So let's really, my video's not on.
Yep.
Do you know that?
Yeah, you are. Everything's looking good.
Okay, it just has a picture of me with Audrey.
That's me. There's two Danas. Tricking you.
I don't even want to know what's going on here. So two reasons. First, wolves don't eat it. Second, dogs can't digest it. Well, this is a video from the Voyagers Wolf Project, and they monitor wolf populations in Minnesota. And they have oodles and oodles of videos showing, as you can see in the top right there, that wolves forage extensively on blueberries. And it's not just unique to this wolf population. Dr. Isla Fishburne noticed that wolves in Europe will eat all sorts of vegetation, including grapes, weirdly enough. So here's the deal here. A lot of people, so we know that wolves do indeed eat vegetation. The other thing that people say is that dogs can't digest plant matter. And to that, I say, hooey. Here's a comparison of the skull of cats, dogs, and humans. So the cat is a true top level carnivore, and we humans are omnivores, and clearly the cat's mouth and the human's mouth are quite different. There's a lot more similarity between the cat and the dog. See those pointy teeth up front there? Those are the canine teeth, and those guys are made to rip and tear flesh. We don't have those because we're not flesh rippers and tearers. In fact, most of the teeth that dogs and cats both have are pointy. So it's a good indication that clearly these animals are meant to eat meat. They're both carnivores. Now, if we look at our own omnivorous teeth, we don't have those sharp, pointy teeth. And if you look at the back of our teeth, we have flat molars. And the job of molars is to crush and grind plant matter. And that's one of the reasons why we're classified as omnivores, as are things like pigs. Our teeth tell us a lot about what we've adapted really well to eating. And for us, that's a decent amount of plant matter. Now, I want you to look again at the teeth of the dog, because what you'll see is compared to the cat, they have lots of molars and premolars at the back of their mouth compared to the cat. And they're nowhere near as sharp and elongated as the cat's, but they're not as flat as ours. So I would say, and you might too, looking at this, that the dog's mouth is somewhere between the omnivorous human mouth and the totally carnivorous cat mouth. Now, there's something we humans have in our spit, and it's called salivary amylase. Now, amylase is one of the enzymes that breaks complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. And if you want to see or feel amylase at work, take a piece of bread and just hold it, spit it all up, and hold it in your mouth for a minute or so. And what you'll notice is that it really starts to taste sweet. That is your salivary amylase starting to break that bread into sugars. Now, neither cats or dogs have salivary amylase. Now, that makes a lot of raw feeders think that dogs can't digest plant matter, but that simply isn't true. First of all, look at their teeth. It tells us that they should be eating some plant matter, but the other reason is amylase also is made in your dog's pancreas. Now, if you've ever wondered why dogs don't have salivary amylase, it's because they don't chew their food. They bolt it down. They don't need salivary amylase. We chew our food. What do dogs do? Yoink, swallow, gone. Nature abhors waste. So why would your dog manufacture an enzyme that essentially they don't need? But once the food gets into the stomach and the gut, then what happens is your dog starts to produce amylase. It's not salivary amylase from the salivary glands, but it's made in the pancreas. And here's the thing about amylase. Dogs have about 20 times more pancreatic amylase than cats do. And the activity of the enzyme rises a lot more than it does in cats if they happen to have some starch content in their food. What this means is that dogs can digest over 99% of processed starch, whereas a cat's ability to digest it is a lot more limited. Now, bear with me, because this doesn't mean that you should be feeding your dogs like wheat and oats and stuff. There's a few more differences between the digestive systems of dogs and cats. Humans, we can easily convert plant-based alpha-linolenic acid, which is an omega-3 fatty acid found in plants. We can easily convert that to EPA and DHA. Cats can't. Zero, zip, zilch, nada. But dogs can convert approximately 5 to 15%. Cats can't manufacture taurine. They need a lot of high quality animal protein in their diets. Dogs can. This is an interesting difference. The cat's enzyme for breaking down protein is always active, always. The dog's is only active when he eats protein. So clearly he's also made to make meals that aren't always protein. Cats cannot convert plant-based beta carotene from plants to vitamin A. Dogs can. And then cats don't have the enzymes glucokinase and synthetase, which break down carbs. But guess what? Dogs do. What does this all mean? It means if you are feeding your dog a prey model diet without vegetation, you are feeding a species appropriate diet for cats, not for dogs. That is cat food. That is not dog food. Your dog was made to eat some vegetation. But that doesn't mean he's eating carbs, right? Grains and legumes, they're not species appropriate for any species. Starchy foods like rice, oats, wheat, all of that stuff, it simply is not part of the ancestral diet. If you look at nature's buffet, all the things out in the world that we didn't make and we don't farm, and you look at what she offers for animals to eat, the total starch content is about 4%, and that's mainly grasses, veggies, and berries. 4%. Okay, so Mother Nature says, hey, there's some carbs out here, you should probably be eating them. Now, here's why I believe if your dog doesn't get vegetation and the nutrients that go with it, that he is probably in big trouble. His gut is in big trouble. So, you know, say hello to several trillion of your dog's best friends, bacteria that live in his gut. Your dog, this is really, really icky, but your dog is more bacteria than he is dog. Bacteria cells outnumber his own cells by 10 to 1. In fact, and if you're like a creationist, close your ears for 1 second, but bacteria is the common ancestor of everybody here. It's the oldest fossil we found, and bacteria are way older than the dinosaurs. Okay, you can open your ears up now. So the bacteria that live in your gut, in your dog's gut, they have a synergistic or helpful relationship with their host. They love their host because their host, your dog, gives them a nice, safe place to live, a warm place to live, lots and lots of good food because they eat your dog's food, especially what your dog doesn't digest. So they really, really like the neighborhood that they live in. So they protect the neighborhoods and the cities that they live in because it's a really, really nice place to live. Look, if the less desirables get into the neighborhood, we all know that, then it goes to seed. Things like E. coli, salmonella, unfriendly bacteria, viruses. The good bacteria that live in your dog's gut, they protect their neighbor from all of these guys setting up camp. They look after their neighborhood and they look after their cities. And they look after your dog, their host, in order to protect themselves. A healthy bacteria community, and this is important to remember, has 2 features. 1, a really good population base, lots and lots of bacteria, and 2, lots of diversity. So diversity, you know, really helps our cities and it helps bacteria cities as well. It is these 2 things that keep the bad guys out. The bad guys are kind of like the nomads. This is the Great Wall of China, and the Manchus way back when, they eventually conquered China during the Ming Dynasty with a really small amount of men. And you look at this big giant wall to keep them out, and what happened was some disgruntled general just left a door open and said, screw you, China, I'm letting these nomads in. This big long wall that's 13,000 miles long, right? It was only as good as its doors, and when somebody opened up the door, then China was really quickly overtaken. And that's how I kind of want you to look at your dog's gut as we're going through this. Your dog's microbiome is the largest immune organ in his body, and here's why. His gut is where the outside, or at least the things that he eats and drinks and licks in the outside, are really capable of getting to his insides, his blood, his lymph, his organs. In his small intestine, that's where your dog digests food, not in the stomach. The only thing that separates the inside of your dog from his stomach contents is 1 single layer of cells. That is insane. And it is the only thing that stands between your dog and the bad bacteria, toxins, viruses, chemicals, all that stuff that he's exposed to and gets into his digestive tract. So here's kind of what I want you to think about when you think about your dog's thin gut lining, just like the Great Wall of China there. Imagine if at the foot of that Great Wall, there was vast cities of really friendly and cool people. And these cities and these populations made sure that all of the nomads, those creepy nomads, made sure that they stayed out. That way, nobody can get through random open doors or just build ladders to get up and down, the wall. These bacteria that live in your dog's guts, they form these cities that go against your dog's gut lining, his wall. And that's what the inside of a healthy gut looks like. So what does this all got to do with vegetation? Well, your dog, in exchange for the protection that these cities of bacteria offer him, he has to feed them. Okay. Now, here's an interesting study. Researchers looked at the relationship between vegetables, vitamins, and the risk of bladder cancer in Scottish Terriers. And they just had owners complete a questionnaire about the dog's diet and supplements. And what they did was they evaluated the risk of transitional cell carcinoma or bladder cancer, because it's really rampant in that breed. Now, the dogs in the study that ate dark leafy greens, yellows, and orange veggies at least 3 times a week had a 90% decrease in their risk of cancer. And the dogs that were only eating cruciferous veggies had a 70% reduction. And as an aside, the dogs eating vitamins didn't really have any significant change in their cancer risk. So it is not the vitamins in these foods that are helping your dogs. In humans, we know this. We are told to eat fiber-rich foods. And there's oodles of research showing that the more fiber we eat, the healthier we are and the lower our cancer risk. So what is the link? What do plants offer your dog that animal proteins don't? And that's 2 simple things. 1, fiber. 2, phytonutrients or polyphenols. Now, the interesting thing about fiber is that your dog can't digest it at all. So the prey model people are right about that. Dogs can't digest fiber. We can't either. It passes right through the small intestine and goes to the colon relatively untouched. And this fiber serves 2 purposes for your dogs. First, insoluble fiber bulks up the food and helps it pass through the colon. That's why a lot of kibbles will add insoluble fiber to bulk up the stools. And soluble fiber can also be a prebiotic, which means it feeds the beneficial bacteria that live in your dog's gut, all of those healthy cities living against his wall. Now, fiber has quite a few health benefits for your dogs. First of all, we know this, it binds to carcinogens and helps your dog poop them out so that those carcinogens don't get through the wall. Fiber also has antioxidant properties, and antioxidants, if your dog's eating kibble, antioxidants are so freaking important because kibble is an antioxidant poor food. If you don't have antioxidants, then you have unbridled, unchecked, rapid aging and degeneration. Fiber, listen up, it feeds all of those bacteria living in your dog's gut, especially in his colon, and it especially likes to feed what are called lactic acid bacteria. So when they eat the fiber, they emit lactic acid, and this increases the acidity of the colon, and that's what helps the nomads stay away. It's like kryptonite. They hate lactic acid. So the good guys will kind of pee out this lactic acid, and that keeps the nomads away. They really don't like it. Fiber will bind not just to carcinogens, but to toxins. It binds to them and helps your dog poop them out, again, so they don't get inside of your dog. And when the bacteria in your dog's gut ferment fiber, they produce these things called short-chain fatty acids. Your dog can't eat short-chain fatty acids. He can't get them through his diet. The only way he gets them are from his beneficial bacteria. So that's one of the main benefits to your dog. Short-chain fatty acids carry their own unique set of benefits for your dogs. They feed the cells lining your dog's intestine, and that's important because if that wall isn't healthy and starts crumbling, you got big problems, man. What they also do is they build a mucous membrane. So even though your dog's digestive tract is only a single small line of cells, there's this thick, nice mucous membrane. And we know this. Research shows us the more bacteria he has living there and the more diverse they are, the more luxurious and thick his mucous membrane is. That mucous membrane also helps trap toxins and unwanteds from getting in there as well. These short-chain fatty acids also reduce systemic inflammation. And that's not all that important to your dog. It only causes every chronic disease he can get. You know, diabetes, any organ disease, heart disease, all of those things, cancer, they're just chronic unchecked inflammation. And the short-chain fatty acids help limit this. They're so important to your dog that they can talk directly to his brain. They are a crucial part of your dog's immune system, and that is why we say that up to 90% of your dog's immune system is in his gut, because it's made up of those beneficial bacteria and all the benefits, mainly short-chain fatty acids, that they give your dog. If your dog is not eating fruits, berries, leafy greens, grasses, every meal, all of these benefits are gone. They're gone. Now, if that's not enough to convince you, then I want to talk about phytonutrients or phytochemicals. In Greek, phyto means plant. So, surprise, plants are the only source of phytonutrients. Now, your dog wouldn't survive without vitamins and minerals, but phytonutrients are pretty darn important too, because they play a key role in helping, prevent and even treat disease in your dog. Now, the largest category of phytochemicals are polyphenols. And once again, they are really, really, really powerful antioxidants. And just like fiber, your dog doesn't really eat polyphenols. He can't break down polyphenols. We can't either as omnivores, that he just can't. But what happens? His good bacteria will. So the more good bacteria he has, more polyphenols he's gonna benefit from. So polyphenols, more so than fiber, are antioxidant and they are anti-inflammatory. They've also been super well studied for their role in preventing and treating a whole lot of chronic diseases like diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases, and even cancer. And interestingly, about half of the polyphenols that are metabolized by your dog's gut bacteria, they end up in your dog's brain. Now, this is really, really important to understand. Polyphenols are pretty much destroyed by heating. So if you're giving your dog vegetation, you can't heat these things. And if you're feeding your dog a kibble and you're paying extra to have all these fruits and veggies in it, he doesn't get the benefit of the polyphenols whatsoever. So even if your dog's feeding kibble, you'd better find a steady supply of vegetation to give him. Now, some of the best known polyphenols that you might have heard of are quercetin. How much do we love quercetin for allergies? Don't tell me that's not a really powerful immune modulator. Curcumin from turmeric. It's just a polyphenol. And look at the benefits that it offers dogs. And it's funny because a lot of prey model like feeders will give their dog turmeric and curcumin, but they say, oh no, my dog can't digest plant matter. It's like, yeah, yes, he can. Otherwise, why are you giving your dog curcumin? Anthocyanins from blueberries. Those are important polyphenols. Sulforaphane from cruciferous veggies. Resveratrol from green tea. These are all polyphenols. Now, phytonutrients and polyphenols have some major benefits for your dogs. And one of the most important ones is that they activate both phase 1 and phase 2 enzymes that start the detoxification process in your dog's liver. Got that? So they help your dog's liver detox. They lower your dog's glucose. They help with insulin resistance. They modulate cell signaling in cancer and other inflammatory diseases. They can actually directly cause apoptosis or self-destruction in cancer cells, and most importantly, they reduce systemic inflammation like nobody's business, especially sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is the most potent activator of the anti-inflammatory NRF2 pathway that we know of apart from ozone. So there's like ozone therapy, expensive and inconvenient. Right next to it, sulforaphane from like broccoli and broccoli sprouts. There is so much that you can do to benefit your health with vegetation. So I would argue, boys and girls, that polyphenols are a critical part of the diet, even in dogs. And researchers every single day are turning more and more of their attention to the role that polyphenols play in both treating and preventing disease. Now, their ability to impact health makes a whole lot of sense when we think about those gut bacteria, because polyphenols and the gut bacteria have this really, really complex, tight, two-way relationship. Studies show that some polyphenols can actually change the bacteria populations in your dog's gut. Some polyphenols, like catechin, can inhibit the growth of bad guys like E. coli and Bordetella, Salmonella, and Clostridium. And this benefit is fairly consistent with just a lot of the polyphenols. They can bind to and alter bacterial membranes, and it will directly interfere with the activity and growth of the bad guys. And of course, as I mentioned before, they've been really extensively studied for their link to cancer. Studies on rats show that the polyphenol lignin can be metabolized by some bacteria. And rats with larger populations of these bacteria had fewer and smaller tumors and a lot more tumor apoptosis. And in another study, they gave polyphenol resveratrol to rats, and it reduced bacterial enzyme activity that was linked to colorectal cancer. And resveratrol is also anti-inflammatory. So overall, the relationship between polyphenols and your dog's microbiome, his gut bacteria, are pretty complex. But when it comes to the microbiome, foods that are really rich in polyphenols promote the growth of commensal-friendly bacteria, and they help increase the diversity of the microbiome. So once again, if your dog is not eating vegetation, he's got fewer commensal bacteria and he's got less diversity in those populations. And those are the two things that we use to measure the health of your dog's gut. Now, here's one kind of really cool study that I thought I'd mention. How are we doing for time? Not bad. So back in 2014, there was this French study, and they had 3 groups of rats, and you can see them represented there. Group 1 got rat chow, like Purina rat chow. Group 2 had a high fat, high sugar diet. And then group 3 had a high fat, high sugar diet, just with some cranberry juice added. And they fed them this for 2 months. Now we know that high fat, high sugar diets are really not good for the microbiome. It grows unfriendly species that can cause gut inflammation and leaky gut. So after 2 months, they looked at the livers of these rats, and the group that was fed the cranberry juice didn't have any fatty liver damage, but the dogs eating a high fat diet without the cranberry juice had massive amounts of fatty liver damage. So these polyphenols just did a remarkable job of protecting the rats' livers. They also looked at inflammatory markers in the rats, and they found that once again, the rats eating the cranberry juice had way fewer inflammatory markers. The other thing I don't want you to forget, because this is important, especially for you kibble feeders, is polyphenols are major antioxidants. So electrons like, atoms like to have all of their electrons in pairs. They don't like having uneven pairs of electrons. And when there are uneven pairs, then this atom is unstable. And what it tends to do, as you can see by those 2 blue guys there, it'll steal electrons from its neighbor. The original atom is still weird because it's a stolen electron. It doesn't really belong. And now it's made its neighbor weird. And this goes on and on and on in a chain reaction. And it, excuse me, it damages the cell membranes of all of your dog's cells. And it is this free radical damage from these, they're called reactive oxygen species or free radicals. It's these free radicals that cause degeneration in your dog. What antioxidants do is they can loan an electron to a free radical without becoming unstable themselves. So as you can imagine, antioxidants are just an incredibly important part of the diet. And I will tell you this, you don't really get any antioxidants at all from meat, but you get a whole lot from plants. So again, all of these health and especially immune benefits that I talked about, they are all gone if you don't feed your dog some sort of vegetation. And this isn't my opinion. It's been proven over and over and over again in almost every species. If you're not eating vegetation, or if you're not eating enough, your cancer risk goes up. Your chronic inflammation, which is the cause of all chronic disease, that goes up. The mucous membrane protecting your dog's gut, it gets thinner. And there's a lot less food to feed those beneficial bacteria colonies. And we know the more bacteria there are, the healthier your dog's digestive tract and by proxy, immune system and brain are. Kibble is antioxidant poor. And remember, any polyphenols that might have been in that kibble in the form of, grains or cranberries or any added vegetation, forget it. They're all killed by heat. Plus, on top of that, on the whole, dogs eating kibble or a high starch diet are going to have kind of unbalanced, unhealthy guts in the first place, because starch feeds the wrong bacteria populations. It feeds populations that tend to squirt out these toxic substances. So instead of squirting out lactic acid, which helps your dog, they kind of squirt out these toxins that irritate your dog's gut lining, and that opens up doors in his big wall in the gut lining. And if you're not feeding your dog vegetation, you are feeding him cat food. Your dog is clearly built to eat a diet with a small amount of plant matter, and most importantly, a small amount of fiber. And if you ignore this fact, then your dog's immune system is at risk and his gut health is at a very definite disadvantage. So please, guys, don't let your dog be fiber deficient. It's such a simple addition to your dog's diet that could literally add months and months or even years to his life. Don't cook it, mulch it up to help pre-digest it a little bit, or ferment it, and that'll make it more, available for your dog. Do that and watch the health benefits just light your dog up from the inside out. All I got, Sant. Are we doing Q&A or are we knocking it out?
I'm going to give you one question.
One question.
Just one.
I like it.
At what temperature do polyphenols break down? Can we warm our dog's food, especially for those of us using dehydrated? Big, fully loaded question.
Wow, that is a big, fully loaded question.
Because it was from a staff.
Oh, I see.
Not me, but another staff.
Do you know what? I'm going to have to look into that. Like with standard cooking temperatures, you're killing at minimum 95% of the polyphenols. Let me do a little research on that, and I can post that in the comments, because I don't want to give you an answer that might not be accurate.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for coming out, guys. Sorry for the technical, listen, it wouldn't be alive without technical difficulties. But thanks for coming out. Let us know what you thought about this in the comments, please, because feedback is love. And if you give us feedback, we'll do more of these. So keep the suggestions coming. And we're happy to keep doing these live